Do you have cameras on them? I'm just curious. Is there
No camera.
no
That's actually a
cameras?
good point because that's the number one question that I get
Uh-huh.
from customers.
Uh-huh.
Very concerned about privacy issues.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
customers will come. I don't want them. I have a swimming pool in my backyard. I don't want them to film me while
While you're
doing
dropping off my
a
eggs.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
no cameras on our drones at all. Like nothing. So and I believe we
That's
may be the only
interesting.
one without cameras because we knew that we're going to the US suburbs. We knew there's going to be privacy concerns. So our drones operate with no cameras.
Delivery has had a scarlet letter attached to it as of late. Consumers are getting into a breaking point. Businesses are sharing this frustration. But what if I told you there's light at the end of the tunnel and we may no longer be relying on third parties for our delivery needs? It's a brave new world, and we're talking to one of the many pioneers helping us lead us into this new era of delivery options. This is Restaurant Unconfidential. I'm Norwood.
I'm Javier.
I'm Alondra.
And today we're talking to Ben Thein with FlyTrex and having an awesome interview with him. So, I want to say hello, Ben.
Hello.
So, um, this is our series, Tech in the Industry, and our current topic is automation. And so we have an awesome interview today. But quick fire. Guys, where did delivery go off the rails? How did we get to this situation? Ben, what do you think?
I think it's when people realize that traditional delivery just doesn't work. It's too expensive and not fast enough. So this is exactly where FlyTrex comes in.
Nice, yeah. My personally, yeah, when we were kind of told we couldn't really afford it. Like, same thing. Like, kind of seeing that and like that transition for me. How about you, Javi?
For me, it was when it actually hit the forefront of when COVID hit, when we were like, actually, we have to accept this or else we're closing our doors. Either we do delivery or not. That's when I saw a lot of companies
Yeah.
reach out and trying to find, some delivery within their four walls. Yeah.
So these are all great points, and we'll be diving deeper into where things went wrong, but mostly to highlight how things are getting better and how to explain how the industry is at a turning point with automation in general through the scope of food delivery. We're convinced that we couldn't have our own delivery programs and that there were magical third-party options that would solve all of our problems. But all they've done is make, on the high side, 60% of our profits disappear. And that's a trick no one is impressed with. And our guests are really going to explain how the tools are here for us to be able to take back control of the wheel. Our 30 third-party apps and in-between technology for the actual technological solution to our delivery woes. Let's find out. Let's get started because I'm expecting a pizza delivery from R2D2, and I got to get to the door to answer it.
Yes. Well, I'm excited we're here. I'm
Yeah.
excited we're talking about this. Thanks.
So first off, Ben, tell us a little bit about yourself and what's the elevator pitch for FlyTrex?
Sure. So, thank you for having me
Oh,
again.
absolutely.
So my name is Ben Thein. I'm the COO of FlyTrex. Um, I joined the company 4 years ago, back in Israel, in Tel Aviv, and then I moved to the United States almost 2 years ago to
Nice.
manage the business here from the US, and I'm based in Washington, D.C. Um, and I oversee our operations, our day-to-day operations, and all of our commercial agreements. Um, FlyTrex is a drone delivery company. We deliver food and beverages and groceries, etc., with the drone faster than any other known method. Um, we have delivery stations in North Carolina and in Texas. We partner with restaurants. We deliver to customers' houses. Um, and we are here to solve the problem of delivery being too expensive and too slow in the US suburbs.
Nice. So, talking to you before, we said, seeing that you have a lot of past success with building brands and companies as they expand, and entering this new world with FlyTrex for you, what was particular about that project that excited you?
So I came from a whole different industry, and
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was at the first I was at SodaStream, then I was at a co-working space, And then I was looking for something that I actually know nothing about.
Yeah.
I wanted to challenge myself. And I said, okay, let me see where I can go, find a really cool technology and make people's lives better by enabling that technology. And I came across FlyTrex back in 2020, as I mentioned. I met Amit and Yariv, the two founders, and we really hit it off. And I started working with them. And then we started. We had a very clear vision of where we want to go, but back in the day, it looked like far-fetched, but then, you just start doing something.
Yeah, it went from like the Jetsons kind of to reality. Like it's cool seeing like that, being part of that transition, bringing that technology to the consumer.
Exactly. I mean, back in the day in 2020, we signed a partnership with Walmart back in 2020, and then we started in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and we started with 4 backyards that we were serving, and they were all adjacent to the Walmart there. So nobody really needed that, but we were very happy when we got 1 delivery per week. And today, when we do thousands of those deliveries, it's amazing how much we've accomplished in 4 years. And we could see that happening 4 years ago, but when you actually like experience that, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna point out. A lot of it isn't you figuring out and trying to figure out how to actually make FlyTrex work, but it's changing the consumer's mind that it does work and
Yeah.
that it can succeed in dropping off their deliveries. And so yeah, your beta testing was there, like you said, with 4 backyards, just with one Walmart. That was
Right.
main of your testing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we started.
Uh huh.
But today I'll give an example.
Uh huh.
We have a few stations. One of them is Holly Springs, North Carolina, that we've opened in October of 2021. Our penetration rate there is over 70%.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
So those are crazy numbers.
Yeah.
So 7 out of 10 houses have actually used our service.
Wow.
And they use it every day to deliver food. And so it's not, I mean,
Yeah.
we're beyond the proof of concept at this point.
Yes.
Yeah, and integration in spaces like that. It's not suburbs of New York or it's not suburbs of big city centers like North Carolina. I'm from the Carolinas, and these are suburban to rural like communities and stuff. To where like to see that kind of adaptation of like new technologies in particular like is super exciting.
Right. And then after we've tested and we started operating successfully in North Carolina, we said we're going to open another cluster of operations, and that was in Dallas, in DFW,
Nice.
Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas. And we actually went a little bit outside first to Granbury, Texas. And we wanted to test it also with a different type of demographics and see how that works. Because at Hot Spring, North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, the median age is about 35, 36. In Granbury, Texas, it's about 51, 52. So very different.
Yeah.
And it's been as equally successful.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. Did you see the numbers drop or go up? So it's
No,
the same. Okay.
Great numbers, great numbers. We've been operating in Granbury, Texas since March of 2022, and it's been working really great. And we recently opened another station in Little and Frisco in DFW, and
Nice.
the numbers are really, really good. So 3 months into it, we have over 1,500 registered households.
Wow. So you're testing the demographics. It works wide across, like you're saying, 30 to 50, But what about how compact where you're doing the delivery service from? Is it still rural? Is it larger, areas?
It's never rural
Like
because it's suburbs,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
we need to justify, we need to make sure that the volume is there.
Right.
Because, for profit company, we want to make money. In order for that, we need to generate enough volume.
Yep.
So we would go normally to a US suburb, where we can serve on average somewhere between 20,000 to 60, 70,000 households.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That would be sufficient for us to generate enough volume.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that hits a lot of like a lot of the towns in America. Like that's a perfect size. Like you're really hitting, and then being able to take, and that makes sense. Being able to justify like getting in there, for being able to have that window that you can come.
Volume.
Remember, I mentioned that we're coming to solve a problem.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we are solving the problem in the suburbs where delivery is just too expensive and too slow.
Yeah.
In downtown Manhattan, that's not that's a different problem. So we're not
Yeah.
going there anytime
Yeah.
soon. We're
Uh-huh.
focusing on suburbs.
Yes. Makes sense.
So, speaking of like what's going on now with delivery, delivery apps are regarded as kind of a necessary evil with what's going on right now. And restaurants are kind of having to decide right now, like, can I do a takeaway program? What's your view on the current market with like delivery apps? And then I was curious, we see like the pandemic, how Javier was saying earlier, like really kind of spurred on and changed like the delivery apps. What did the pandemic do to you guys too? So it's kind of a two-part question. Like, what's your view on the current delivery apps in the market with that? And then what do you think the pandemic did? Did it slow you guys down with automation and automated delivery, or did you think it kind of sped you guys up and gave you a little boost?
So there's no question that traditional delivery is having these issues, and we see that. I mean, when you order through one of those traditional delivery companies, and you want to order for about $30, and then you end up with paying $60 because you have to add delivery fee, marketing fee, service fee, whatever that is. And it's just too expensive. And I understand. I mean, those companies, they employ a lot of people, a lot of drivers. They need to make sure that they are able to make money, but that spills over to the customer and to the restaurant.
And the restaurant too, because they're taking.
Right.
It's not like the restaurant gets that $30 too. Yep. Like it's
right.
Yeah, it's just gone.
Yeah.
So they kill them on the margins because they have to justify their own business. And I have a lot of respect for DoorDash and all of the other companies. DoorDash, I mean, it's especially during the pandemic, has done an amazing job growing, etc. But the current solution just doesn't work. It doesn't work. You use too many people. So that's where we come in. And then you ask about the pandemic. So the pandemic has done was really good. I mean, unfortunately to say, but it did really good for us because there's less people wanted less human interaction.
Yeah.
And and our deliveries are with no human interaction.
Right.
So delivery in general became something much bigger. So and we meet those two criteria. So think about first of all, no one is messing around with your food on the way from the restaurant to your home because
that's true.
The robots aren't grabbing a handful of fries and munching on them.
The robots aren't eating fries. No, that's a good point.
Yeah, right. And then I would just say, like, just because we're talking about the no human interaction, is that we see a lot of parents being away from home, let's say lunchtime, and they want to order food for their kids, and they feel much safer using
That's such a good point. Yeah.
Then a stranger does not knock on their door.
That's a really good point.
And the food is delivered to the kids, to the backyard or the front lawn, and the kids just pick it up. It's really easy. So that's another big plus for us.
That's interesting. Yeah, because Javi's got a couple daughters, and to think about that, to be able to deliver.
I wouldn't order without being here. I wouldn't want some stranger to show up.
The reality is
true,
right? Latchkey kid, like with two parents working and stuff. I mean, that's the reality that a lot of people are living in. And I always say, you live for the real world. You don't live in the world you want it to be.
Yeah, the dream world.
Yeah, exactly. So if two parents are working and you want to have that option of a safe delivery like that, that's such a cool perk. Without and it's totally one that's not one of the first things you think of off the top of your head.
Right.
That's awesome. So listeners are nervous about integrating delivery automation. Maybe you can assuage their fears by talking about the safety of the drones. What kind of insurance are you see associated with the use? So what makes it safe to have those things flying above your head in neighborhoods and stuff?
So just one example, the insurance for us for drone delivery is about 1/10 of the cost of insuring a car driver.
Wow, that's awesome.
So there are insurance companies already picking this up.
Oh yes,
Okay.
Yeah,
but
that's
1/10 of the cost because it's
Wow.
considered to be very safe. And listen, we've been working with the FAA for a number of years. They've been a great partner of ours,
Hmm.
and they've made us test like anything that you can imagine.
Right.
And there are tons of redundancies. And in the beginning, it was we took it one step at a time. But we FAA would never approve anything that would jeopardize would put people in risk.
Right.
And we have all of the mechanisms in place, and we're allowed to fly today over highways, high schools,
nice.
water lake, like anything you can imagine today. So the FAA feels comfortable enough of us doing it. And again, it's not for everybody. I mean,
Right.
we had to go some very to go through a lot of testing back in the day,
Hmm.
and there's like a handful of companies like us who can do that. I think the FAA has done a really good job monitoring and making sure that everybody is keeping adhering to the rules. But it's just it just works.
So are they standardizing the FAA standardizing their rules with you so that every drone company that's considering starting is working off the same, or are they hands on one with companies currently?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They work with us. They work with a couple of other
Okay.
market leaders, such as Google, who is basically our biggest competitor today.
Hmm.
And for a
Amazing.
startup, it's awesome to have Google as your competitor.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning and oh yeah, I'm competing against Google. That's
Yeah, the
like
big guys. Yep.
yeah, it drives everybody. It's an awesome driver for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, they work with us. They work with Google on standardizing that
Hmm.
and moving forward.
So you mentioned, yeah, we're getting into local regulations, and you mentioned the FAA. Can these drones like be near the airports?
Yeah. Interesting.
Are they able to
Yeah.
work in that
So
same area?
yeah, so we work near airports, and actually today, because of a way that every flying vehicle is identifying itself,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
the first areas where drone delivery companies can uh, use what the industry is called BVLOS, beyond visual line of sight.
Uh-huh.
So
Mm-hmm.
flying drones um, beyond visual line of sight without anybody's kind of like seeing the drone with their own eyes. We're actually doing it around the biggest airports in the
Oh
country,
wow.
and there are 37 of them because every vehicle that comes in within 30 nautical miles of that big airport must identify itself.
Yeah,
So
that's interesting.
so we will have a system. We have a system that identifies the drone and
Uh
every
huh.
other
Huh.
vehicle, flying vehicle that comes in must identify itself. So that is actually the safest way to move forward.
That's so
Yeah,
yeah.
that's really interesting. Like a tail number on a
Yeah,
plane, you
yeah.
have to have for each drone.
And that's where I
Wow.
think a lot of people would be super nervous. Like, kind of instinctively, you think you can't be near an airport with those, and like you kind of, I think some of our customers would think them they're like not able to. They're like, oh, I'm near an airport, I wouldn't be able to use this. But
Hmm.
hearing that that's actually the best spaces, like that's the easiest for you guys to
To
get into. That's
track.
super interesting. It's such a great
Safest
like
way.
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
selling point for people too. Another kind of spot like we're like, oh wow, that's even better for us.
Hmm.
The so as we're going into so yeah, you guys are working with the FAA and working around planes, but what about natural like elements? So like personally,
Right.
we're here near the coast.
Yep.
We have rivers coming through here. We have a lot of like valleys and canyons and stuff, like
Hmm.
different terrain. So what have you guys done to combat these natural obstacles? Is it something you guys have tested already, or is this something you kind of take on as you move into new markets?
Um, the answer is yes. So, because North Carolina is one, is
The
different than
Also
Texas.
has.
Yep, and the Appalachians.
Like just like hills and trees, etc. Very different than flat Texas. So we've been doing both,
Hmm.
and I think that as we grow and as we get into different clusters, that we will meet new challenges, of course.
Hmm.
But I think that by now we've proved that we can handle anything. So
And do you have cameras on them? I'm just curious. Is there
No camera.
no
That's actually a
cameras?
good point because that's the number one question that I get
Uh-huh.
from customers.
Uh-huh.
Very concerned about privacy issues.
Yeah.
So customers will come. I don't want them. I have a swimming pool in my backyard. I don't want them to film me while I'm,
While you're dropping off my eggs.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So no cameras on our drones at all. Like nothing. So I believe we
That's
may be the only
interesting.
one without cameras because we knew that we're going to the U.S. suburbs. We knew there's going to be privacy concerns. So our drones operate with no cameras.
And you're not worried about the wrong people picking up the wrong thing or somebody stealing the drone or that, because you're tracking it, obviously, but you don't need the camera footage for anything.
We
I'm
don't
just
need
looking
the-
because everybody's adding camera to cars and police and,
Right.
Oh,
We don't need. First of all, the drone doesn't land at the customer's house. The drone delivers the food from about 82 feet. It lowers the food on a tether
There we
to a
go.
customer's house, so nobody can touch the drone, even
That's
if they
awesome.
want.
Yeah, that's a good way of explaining it. Okay. So it's not even within their control to be able to grab it or okay.
Exactly. And if they try to grab the tether, it will just release itself, and the tether will stay in the person's hand.
Oh
but,
wow.
Yeah.
So it even releases
But
a tether. Okay.
That's
right, but
smart.
our drone will fly away, and nothing's going to happen. So again, this is one of the mechanisms that we developed and work with the FAA to ensure the safety of our delivery.
Yeah, because that's
That's
kind of the with the terrestrial drones, like the little like kind of coolers on wheels. They're covered in cameras for it to kind of
Right.
keep safety and stuff for that. And so here that you guys have that full like
No cameras,
that's got to be great for customers. So let's get into the practical application. Walk me through an employee's experience, not the person, not the guy who owns the restaurant buying it, but I'm Joe Schmo on the line. I'm putting an order together, box it up. What happens next? What's the interaction for them?
Are you asking about restaurants?
Yeah, or if I'm doing a delivery, if I'm using you guys'
So-
product, how's it feel for an employee to use it?
No difference whatsoever between us and any other delivery company. So they will get the order. Hopefully, we've integrated by then with that specific company, with their specific restaurants. We've integrated with a bunch of them by now. And then they prepare the food. They make it ready for FlyTrex to pick it up. And then we just pick it up and we take it to and we load it into the drone. That's it.
Nice. Do they go outside to to a pad or something, or is there
Yeah.
something inside?
So- Right. So today, and this is I'm emphasizing today because that's going to change soon.
Yeah.
Today we pick up the food. We have a person who comes to pick up the food, takes it outside to the delivery station that is conveniently located very close by, and then load it into the drone, and the drone flies to the customer's house. However, we are about to introduce a new drone with an auto pickup. So the drone will come to the restaurant and will
Nice.
pick up the food, will hover above the restaurant and will pick up the food from the restaurant. So an employee, at the beginning, it will be an employee of ours. Later on, it might be a restaurant employee. I'm not sure yet, but it will take some time until we do that. So we will send a person there. We'll pick up the food just like any other person. We'll walk outside. So think about curbside pickup. It will be a drone side pickup. We'll go outside. The drone will hover above. We'll put it on the hook really, really easily, and it will fly to the customer's house. So basically, from the moment the food is ready at the restaurant, it's about 3-4 minutes flight time to the customer's house. There's no other way to make it faster.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
You can't, as a crow flies, like kind of that expression of just getting directly there and back. Like you can't beat that. Like,
So
and
Ben,
that's
Ben, you brought up integration. I'm curious about that. Do you integrate into POS systems? What do you want to integrate into? Because we're this whole series is on tech in the restaurant, so that was kind of interesting.
Right. We are. We've integrated with a bunch of the POS system. We've integrated with OWA. We have integrated with Other. We've integrated with a few others as well. And yes, I mean the goal is to integrate it with as many as possible, just because it makes the delivery faster and everybody's in
seamless.
the restaurant and us and the customers.
Yep. Beautiful.
so, and then we've talked a little bit about the consumer. So like they set up there in their backyard. Like, let's go a little more in that for the consumer side. Like, as a consumer, what's their experience like directly? Like, if I pop in my order, I'm waiting, 10 minutes, 15 minutes till that awesome like turnaround time. But then once delivery's there, like, what's that experience like for them?
So the customer will place an order either on our app or on the restaurant app. So we do both. We do our own app, and we do try to generate as many orders as possible. So you have two ways to do that. And then you can track the order. You have in our app, you can see like the flight network kind of thing. You can see where the drone is coming. You know the exact second where your food is going to get there.
Oh, so they can
Because
track like
On the
where it's
app?
going.
they can track it in the air.
Oh,
Like
that's
on the
super cool.
Yeah.
yeah, they can see
Perfect.
exactly where it's coming.
Because, like you
You
said,
know
all that's unintegrated because they're basically tracking the tail number of it the entire time for the FAA
exactly.
and stuff. Anyways,
Yeah. To the customer. Okay.
that's a great
Uh,
kind of little portal for them.
Right, and then the food will be lowered on the tether, and we advise customers to wait until the tether kind of like release itself, and then you can just like pick up the food.
That's awesome.
And then as I mentioned, we will deliver it to the easiest way, to the most convenient way in the customer's house, so either front lawn or backyard. And it just like and the food is there, and it just freshest food you can imagine. And
Yeah.
we deliver hot coffee, and we deliver
I was just about to say crispy fries. Like, that's the only way you can
crispy
get a delivery
Totally.
like that, like to
we deliver
someone.
Ben and Jerry's ice cream.
I got a cold pizza last night, 35 minutes after I ordered it.
Yeah.
And it was already cold. Yeah, it bums me out. And that's even as fast as like deliveries can get nowadays. So
Yeah.
you're cutting off half of it. Yeah,
Yep.
it's going to make a lot of people happy. And restaurants, their quality. They're going to want to
Our
use it.
partners, our restaurant partners are very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had a few of them for a number of years now, and
That's awesome.
and it's going really well.
It's such a
So
cool marketing thing for a restaurant too. Because I'm as like where I'm interviewing for the podcast, but I'm definitely also interviewing for MySpace coming up because this is definitely something I want to integrate. And like as a restaurateur myself, like it's something that gets me super excited because personally I've always thought the delivery apps and stuff are kind of like an in between technology between like a map being on the wall and having a couple delivery drivers yourself, and then like to where you guys are. And I think like the apps and stuff are
wide-
kind of an in between.
Yeah.
They're never. I don't think it's ever really going to be the permanent solution. So it's so exciting to see people like you coming through.
Right.
But what makes me super excited is these numbers. So let's talk cheddar. If I'm looking at a delivery app that takes 30% of my profits from a delivery and then adds on another 30%, and these are kind of like on the good side numbers. Like I've seen numbers as aggressive as 60% being taken out of the profits, and these restaurants are just given a bill. How do you guys stack up to that financially? Like kind of if we're looking at kind of percentages of a bill, like so in simple numbers, like how do you guys kind of stack up to that?
So I have to say that we work with a lot of the big chains. We've announced some of them, Jersey Mike's and Papa John's, and
Love Jersey Mike's.
and many others. But we also work, and those become like some of our best sellers in the communities that we serve, like what we call like the mom and pops restaurants, and
Yeah.
those restaurants have become a huge marketing tool for us because they love working with us because we're
Yeah.
not killing them on the margin.
Yes.
And so,
They're the ones that need you.
It could be like a restaurant that you've never heard of, but in Holly Springs, North Carolina, a restaurant called Mi Cancun is something it's a Mexican restaurant that everybody loves, and instead of delivering via DoorDash, etc., like 30% margin that they take them, or more than that, why don't work with FlyTrex that takes less than that, because we can do that because of the technology that allows us to reduce costs for everybody involved. So we see a lot of those become some of our best marketing tool by in-store advertising, and they would say they would have like in-store advertising saying, oh, if you deliver use FlyTrex, they're our partners, we love them, etc. So again, everybody wins here. The restaurant
Yeah.
wins, the customer wins because they get it for a cheaper price, and we provide the best customer experience because the food gets there faster. So it's a great tool for everybody involved.
So Ben, do you have a flat fee, a percentage that you charge, or do you work with each individual business depending on their volume and that?
We have each one is slightly different, but in general it's similar. We try to have similar numbers with everybody.
Okay. Roughly, you're right there with everyone. Okay, but they do change a little. Yeah, that's interesting.
But definitely cheaper than working with the traditional delivery companies.
Yes.
Nice. So, one last kind of question. Um, where do you see our interaction? Because I imagine you're working with peers in the automation industry and stuff, and then so in general, like 5, 10 years down the road, what do you see like average person's daily interaction with automation? Like, where do you see that going down the road in in the soon like 5, 10 year kind of like scope?
I mean, I can say that. I mean, again, 4 years ago we were delivering one per week. Now we're delivering in one of the stations. We're about 200 deliveries per day,
Yeah.
and then we're only growing. So just imagine where we're going to be
Yeah.
4, 5, 6
Yeah.
years from
Oh
now.
gosh, yeah.
It's
We're going to
awesome.
be across. The plan is to be across the United States.
Sign me up. I'll help you on the way. I'll help bring you to the
Yeah.
West Coast.
Totally.
Home delivery will become such a commodity. People, I mean, again, if you go to any of our stations today, it's not a big deal anymore. I mean,
Right.
it's just so convenient, so you don't even think about it. I mean, I would say that in the beginning, no question about it, people join the service because they think it's a gimmick, because it's fun, the kids love it. Oh, food from the sky. But they keep coming back, and it's become the routine. We've
Yeah.
become the number one delivery method in areas where we serve because it just works. So
Yeah.
people love it and they keep coming back to it. And I have no doubt that it will become very successful across the country as we continue to grow. So 5 years from now, I believe it will be all over.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit for
It's
you guys.
honestly like if you
Yeah.
guys can do it for a fraction of the price,
Yep.
be profitable and be reliable,
Makes sense.
it's no reason why you guys in this like whole new market shouldn't be just erasing everything that people have had problems with and
no-brainer.
where we're at.
No
We
brainer.
only just started. I mean, today,
Yeah.
we used to fly one drone at a time. Now we fly, then we went up to 2, 4. Now we're at 6 drones flying at the same time,
Yeah.
being
awesome.
busy. But we're going to get to 8, 10, 12, 20.
Yeah.
And those drones are only operated by one person who doesn't even has to be like on the ground, can be sitting somewhere else and just monitoring the system because those drones are flying autonomously.
Yeah.
And they're picking up food from the restaurant. So no human interaction. So that would allow us to grow and become profitable.
Yeah. It gives you that
Beautiful.
space to kind of exponentially grow because you can just grow the technology and it grow it's very exciting. It's a good time to be in, and like as you're saying, as someone who's excited by new experiences and opportunities and stuff, like it's a cool like market for you to jump in as a new experience and like take your other experience of growth and stuff and like help this kind of nurture this baby and let it kind of grow and kind of flourish. So I'm super excited.
I think
Especially
it's perfect for
Yeah.
FlyTrex. The timing right now is perfect for you guys.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have one email. We have some emails that we sent out to kind of get some questions from our listeners with you coming on.
Yeah, so let's jump right into it. We had an email come in from Shen D from Bakersfield, and they asked, I had a robot deliver room service on our last vacation, and it was super cool, but that was in a private hotel with just us guests. How safe is my food when it's delivered across town?
Sounds like a very different solution than ours inside a hotel, etc. But in terms of how safe it is, I mean, we're flying it from the restaurant to the customer's house. There's no, nothing interferes in the middle. So
Yeah,
I think it's more unsafe doing DoorDash
yeah,
in those
yeah.
places
Now, especially there's some
Yeah.
things you brought up, like the zero cameras,
Yeah.
the the drone itself is 80 feet away from you when it does the delivery.
Yeah, it's
like
tethered. It's safe.
there's no person coming up to your door, like especially that thing
Yeah.
with being able to deliver to your kids, like when you're not around safely, like that one right there. That I never thought about that, but that was such a cool like kind of selling point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a good question.
Even as a woman, I feel like that's great as well because it's the same concept.
You
like,
hear horror
do I
stories,
want
yeah.
somebody coming like randomly knowing I'm home alone or peeping into my apartment?
Yeah, you got me on the kids getting deliveries. Like that's one thing that's held me back from ever delivering when I'm not here.
Yeah.
So that's perfect.
Yeah, and like all these
Yeah.
perks, like and then less money than the traditional what we're doing now. It's like it's such a win-win, no-brainer kind of like situation.
Yes.
So Ben, thank you so much for talking with us and demystifying automated delivery. Do you have any outgoing messages for our listeners?
No, I invite everybody to come and see it for yourself. I mean, if people think that it's such a futuristic thing, that I say no, it's a present thing. It's happening right now when we have thousands and thousands of customers and enjoy drone delivery and we'll keep expanding. So if you can, North Carolina and the Dallas-Fort Worth area, come and visit us and
check
see
it
it
out.
for yourself.
And if they can't, do you guys have website, social media? What's the best way for people to
course,
kind of see you guys?
Of course, take a look. I mean, write down FlyTrex on YouTube, and you will see tons of stuff on Instagram and TikTok and whatever. I
What
mean,
are you
we
guys
see
on
people-
Instagram? Is it just FlyTrex?
If you put FlyTrex, you will find
Perfect.
it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben, thank you.
Yeah,
This
thank
has
you
been
so much.
This has been great.
Thank you
This
so
is
much.
this is the future of tech, and this is what we're focused on right now on this whole series. And I think it's a good way you're kind of wrapping up this one with something we expect to see in the next year or two
It's the way
in every
for,
household.
Yeah, restaurant industry's tough and to make those margins, so it takes collaboration with great like companies like you guys. So very excited to see you guys, the growth and like you guys succeeding. Because as I say, as the tide rises, we all rise with it. So it's good to see you guys doing well, so that way it can translate to us and the rest of the industry.
Yep, you'll be saving a lot of mom and pops out there for sure.
Cool.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome.
All right, Ben, thank you. And
Yeah.
great episode.
So join us next week as we continue our series of tech in the restaurant industry. And if you like this interview, then go back and listen to our past interviews wherever you find our podcasts or on our YesChef.productions website. Remember to subscribe to the podcast if you haven't and give us 5-star rating if you enjoyed the lessons, tips, and tricks for succeeding in the business. Thank you so much for spending your time listening to us. See you next week.
See you guys next week. Thank you, Ben.